Hey, Tony, you might have covered this with Dave. We couldn't hear all of that interview, but given the way Clemson ended the first half, did you feel like the first few minutes of the second half would be particularly important? And what do you think about the way your guys responded after Clemson got that first basket to open the half?
Yeah, I broke up a little bit. I think, we gave up some easy baskets at the end of the first half, and I don't think we've played 40 minutes of real good defense or a complete two halves majority of good defense. And you're right. I was interested. We're up 16, and that's obviously a big lead, but certainly not insurmountable in today's game. And then they get an easy backdoor. We had a breakdown. I think we came down and hit a three. But then I thought our defense tightened up, and we did answer the bell in terms of that because they're a good defensive team and they're physical. Now, again, they were off for, I don't know if it was 4 days, 5 days, and they looked rusty. You could see that when they did get some open shots. But for the most part, we kept them in front of us and used our length. And then when you combine the defense, as I told Dave, with, that kind of shooting, and then it came together nicely. But no, we didn't take our foot off the gas, and we were, for the most part, sound and made Clemson earn their baskets.
Tony, you mentioned that the break they had and that they seemed a little bit off, but the way your offense executed, did you think there was issues with Clemson, or do you think you guys just moved the ball really well?
Well, I mean, probably both. I mean, I maybe offensively. I just thought we talked about being ball strong, take care of the ball, and because they're going to try to climb into you. They were really trying to pressure Kihei, and then you saw us get some back doors, pressure releases, which really loosened things up, and then we started hitting shots. When teams have hurt us, it's been their fives and their fours stretching the defense, and those are hard matchups. So we're doing that, and then Trey's hitting them. Kihei's, they're really taking him away. He's so quick. He gets some back doors. He's in the paint with penetration. Reese did a good job. Tom came in and gave us the lift with his shooting, which was great to see. So it came together nicely. So probably both, but that's not to take anything away from our guys because, again, we defended well and moved the ball, took care of it, and then made the shots.
But you said your team was overwhelmed, I think, against Gonzaga. What would you say in your first test against a ranked team since then?
Well, I mean, we responded in the right way. We're learning about our team. We're growing. We're becoming steadier. And it's just, I know we have guys that are older in age, but we've got 3 guys that have not played in a Virginia uniform for a game. So, there's a newness there that I think, an identity has to be formed, how hard we have to defend, how we have to play to beat good teams. And that's just gotten better from after the Gonzaga game. True humble pie, right? And so I think we responded well when it was Notre Dame next, I think it was. And then, it just, we kept taking the right steps and thought it was a good effort, obviously, all the way around. And some really good individual performances too.
All right, next 3, we'll go to Preston Willett, Doug Dowdy, and Danielle Stein.
Yeah, Coach, since that Gonzaga game, you've kind of cut down the rotation a little bit. I know you've had some injuries or some illnesses and some COVID stuff happen on the team, but how much of, did you learn from that Gonzaga game just going forward with how this roster and how your rotation looks?
Yeah, I think we made some adjustments in our system. Had to defensively, not wholesale changes, and you think about it, but there were some adjustments that we made where we have continually gotten exposed or hurt, and then even offensively, we've made subtle adjustments and personnel-wise, playing less guys. Sometimes Reese had to really play a big role because Casey was out, and I think that was good for Reese. And then just different guys at different times, and definitely. I think there's a little more of a feel for, okay, this is the group that's playing. Doesn't mean that 8 and 9 can't get some opportunities in our rotation. A Thomas and a Justin Caden's been out, Cody's been out. So we had to use Poppy today and the other game, and that's been good, and that'll be needed. So guys are stepping up, and practices have been pretty competitive, and just trying to be as no nonsense and hard-nosed as we can to keep getting better.
Could you talk about the very strong start and jumping out to that early lead? And I guess you want to do that all the time, but doesn't always happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure. Again, maybe that's where they were rusty, Doug. They looked a little, even some of the shots they got weren't close, but I do think we were there bothering most of them. And I thought we ran good offense. They were really aggressive defensively. They were into us, and we had to make some hard, tough plays. Saw a few shots go in, and that certainly helped. And we just, usually it's a game of runs. You get off to a big lead. Okay, here they come. And it just kept separating. And like Jeff said at the start of the second half, you're like, okay, I've been in enough of these. And it just, like I said, credit to our guys for playing good basketball and not letting up in both sides of the floor.
Just one more thing about Thomas Wold, the 10 side. I don't believe he played the other night. And what did you?
Hear me?
Damn. We got you back, Coach. Doug, did you want to finish your question?
Barker's
I was just going to ask him about Thomas. I don't believe he played against Notre Dame. Correct me if I'm wrong. But did you definitely want to get him more minutes tonight?
Just was the game. I thought we played well against Notre Dame. Thomas, he had been struggling some, but we needed him tonight. He's experienced, and I thought he defended well. I really did. I thought he played. He got his hands on some balls, and obviously he made a shot. And Thomas is a streaky shooter, and he got it going. And we needed that because it stretches the floor. Some of the things we're doing, you got your guys working, and then also we can stretch it on the wings. Reese had missed a couple, and they're starting to give him the shots. But even the shots we missed, the ball was moving. And again, I respect Coach Brunell, and I've been in those. I've been on that side of the oftentimes when nothing's going right, but they do defend hard. And I thought we were in control of what we needed to be. And again, I told our guys, look, that's one time defensively, and he doesn't guarantee he'll do it again, but you touched on something that's important, and don't back up after that one.
Tony, you had 5 double-figure scores tonight. You did against Notre Dame as well. Can you just talk about the well-roundedness of this team in the offensive front?
Yeah, I think I don't know, one of you guys, or maybe it was Dave, said that's the first time we've had 5 double-figure scores in a long time at UVA. So then, bang, we did it again. That's important. When I've been a part of teams, it's good when you can balance it out, and that puts pressure on a defense. Say, hey, we can just key on this guy or those 2 guys, and the ability for different guys to get hot and get it going was good. And again, when you're shooting the ball like that, your offense certainly looks really good. We weren't great scoring in the post and going at it. We got some drives, but they always say shooting covers over a multitude of mistakes. And tonight, our offense probably looked maybe even better than it was because of the shots we're going in. But I did like our ball, how sure we were with it, and the quality of the looks. But 5 guys is really nice. 4 or 5 guys puts pressure on the defense.
We'll take our last question for Coach from Gene Wong.
Yeah, Tony, it's hard to win any game in the ACC, but when you go on the road and beat the 12th ranked team by 35 points that they're building, what does this say about how good this team can be?
Yeah, is one game. I think you just keep taking steps in the right direction. It's interesting, Gene, they had their band and about 2,000 fans, and there was life in the arena. You could feel it. I guess that varies, team to team or state to state what you have, but the right kind of step, there's so much rankings can be overrated. There's parity in college basketball, but our guys knew they had to be right and ready against this team, and they responded to the challenge that was put before them. So again, a credit to them, and we just prepare for the next one. And I said, tap into this. You don't make too much of it, but you say, all right, you touch real quality, as I just said. So now pursue it with all you got.